Welcome, everybody, to the F1 Push Lap. I'm Jermaine, everything Formula One. Let's just get into it. Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, Oscar pulling off the big win again. Oscar's just showing things that I'm impressed with, just because he's taken such a big step from yesteryear. It's been impressive to see. It's been impressive to watch. Piastri's doing things that I haven't seen Norris do. Over the years that I've watched Formula One and been following Norris and everybody else on the grid, actually, to be frank, Piastri's he's pretty special in his own way. He's got his own tone to his racecraft, to how he does his business, to how he handles whatever he needs to handle. He's incredibly calm. He doesn't get too excited over things when things go well. He doesn't get too down when things don't go so well. And it's evident on his radio communications. Everybody talks about how calm Oscar is. Yes, we know he's calm. But to be calm and fast and calculating and somewhat dominant in that form, it's impressive to see. You gotta give the kid his due, his props. Like, the kid is special. When you looked at Max, had a great chance to actually do something big, but Oscar into turn one, and we'll talk about that, into turn one, stuck his nose there, kept his nose there. He was there first. Not a question. He was there first. And you know what? Kind of showed Max that he's not just going to roll away and go away. What does that say for Lando? Great start by Lando. Lando jumped up 2 places after the incident with, I can't even remember who the incident. Oh, Tsunoda and Gasly. Right. Tsunoda and Gasly at the start, taking each other out. It looks like that's a racing incident. That's a turn one racing incident. Over all the years you see them, that's pretty much what you got there. Maybe Yuki could have backed out, maybe. Turn one incident, really. P1, P4 for McLaren. Still a pretty good haul of points for McLaren. This sets Piastri ahead in the World Drivers' Championships. I think he's at 99 points. But yeah, this is still pretty good for McLaren, for the constructors anyway. Lando salvaging what he could. Lando's a different character. Lando had the opportunity to do things against Lewis today. He could have got the move done early against Lewis, but it showed more to me that Lando was more inexperienced than anything, and Lando's not inexperienced by no means, but it's quite evident that maybe he loses focus in the moment. Maybe it's something that it's a mental thing because he's fast enough, and the McLaren should have been by Lewis in that Ferrari the first time, but Lando didn't realize, or maybe he forgot, that the detection zone was after the last turn, not before. So the first time, Lewis just schooled him and dummied him, and went on to do it another time, and then the third time, finally, Lando figured it out. But, you look at the overall driver picture, you look at what drivers would have made that mistakes. Max is not making that mistake. Ever. Max is cold like that. Max is never going to make that mistake. So I look at Lando and I compare him to the top tier drivers. He's there, but he's a B. And until he gets there, I got you, Lando. I'm with you. I'm your biggest fan. I love you to death. You're great. You need to cut that stuff out, though, in my opinion. But yeah, what can you say about Max maximizing that car? Max is going to be in the mix, like they said. I put out a video maybe a couple weeks ago about how good is Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen is answering that question undoubtedly right now, in a car that maybe not should be there, but he is maximizing that car every single week, every single weekend. What he did with Piastri on the first turn, a little questionable. He knew he was going to get a penalty, so why not try and just run away with it, take the penalty? He almost got away with it in the pits. The pit stop was a little slower, and they tend to be on a penalty because your reaction time is delayed because you're coming off of waiting. So it's always a little delayed, and I think they were just over 3 seconds stopped before the before the penalty. So, a lot played out in the pits. Even Piastri had a slow pit. Hamilton had a 2.1 second pit, which is impressive for Ferrari, but I'm not really sure what they're doing with the car. I guess they maximized what they could. Charles looked fantastic in the car in the second stint. Even Lewis had pace in the second stint. He was right there. Lewis had the pace of the leaders in the second stint. So on lower fuel, maybe that Ferrari can respond. We saw it in Charles's hands today. That no doubt that this Scuderia issue is it. I have no answers. I've seen this play out for decades with Ferrari, and I have no answers to the questions that I hear out there. Is it the ride height? Is it soft suspension? I have no idea. What I do know is they haven't had it right for a while, and I think it's a core problem. I think it's a core engineering problem. I think it's something that maybe it's the ideology behind their practice and how they want to bring that car to life. I'm not sure how it's done at Maranello, but for decades now they haven't gotten it right, and it doesn't look like they're on that path anytime soon. The next regulations are just around the corner. What are we going to see? Probably not much. So, keep your eye on that. Watch that space. Just a great shot of Jeddah. I love this circuit. One of my favorite circuits to watch a race. I'm really getting excited because I just got, as you can tell, I'm sitting in a race seat. I just kind of started to build my own sim kind of rig here. So maybe I'll show more of it in time to come. But let's get to it. Jeddah, turn 1. Max. You know what? Max did what Max does. Max took it to the limit, went around the outside. It looked like he was trying to get the stewards to kind of show that he was there at the apex. I don't think Max was quite there. I think the corner was Piastri's. Piastri had a great launch, great start. I'm impressed with how this kid is just a racer and really cool about it and really calm about it and really calculating about it. But he takes the corner. Max goes on the outside thinking that, maybe if he clearly lets off the brakes to get to the apex so he could use the runoff. That was clear. That was plain as day. But I think when the stewards looked at it, I think they knew that Max wasn't going to make that corner anyway. So the position was definitely Piastri's. Now, Red Bull could have had Max give the place back. It was clear as day that was going to be a penalty. What kind of penalty, we didn't quite know at the start before the stewards got a hold of it. And surely even Piastri says he needs to give the place back. I was ahead. Piastri knew, I think that was just to set it out for obviously for the Stewarts. But Piastri knew this was going to be the case, right? Here's the reality. Max knows that he was going to get a penalty. Max figured he would run away with it. Maybe he could run away with it, gain some time back in the pit stop. Maybe I should say it, not lose as much time in the pit stop as Piastri makes his way through. That's most likely the mentality behind Max. Now, is it the best mentality? I'm not sure. Strategically, is it the smartest thing to do? Not too sure. Should he have given the place back? If it's me, I'm giving the place back right away so I can still be there to fight without the penalty. Because clearly, without the penalty, Max is in the mix. It's all there for the taking. So it's interesting to me that Red Bull didn't really fight and instruct Max to give the place back right away. But hey, Max still maximized the opportunity and maximized, frankly, the car and points and, taking second place. Yeah. He's 2 points behind Lando, and Lando's 9 points or 10 points behind Oscar, right? So, again, Lando, what are we going to do here? What's on the board for Lando after the big shunt in qualifying in Q3? What's on the cards for him? The Max Lando battle. What are we going to get? I don't think it's going to be a Max Lando battle. I think it's going to be a Max Lando Oscar battle. And I think they're both chasing Oscar. And I think they both know they're chasing Oscar. And I think everybody on the grid knows they're chasing Oscar. As long as that McLaren has this advantage, I think everybody knows they're chasing Oscar. Oscar is not the guy who's going to probably just lay down and walk away. Lando has a fight. His teammate is giving it to him, dunking all over him, going hard on him, dangles him in center ice. Like, this is, Tiger and Stephen Ames at this point. I'm not going to say Lando still doesn't have a shot, because Lando is incredibly fast. And I think Lando will always have a shot. But really, when it comes down to it, when we look at the points here, Oscar's at 99 points. Lando has 89 points. So he's already 10 points back, right? And so that's over a win, right? Even if it's a 1-2, even if Lando gets a 1 in Miami and Piastri gets a 2, that's still 7 points. And, I don't know, that's how it's going to actually play out. So fascinated to see. Be back next week. Give you more of an update. Love you. Comment, please, if you love the video. Love to hear your feedback. Like and subscribe. More content coming your way, especially with this sim, F125, coming out soon. So can't wait. Big up. Be back.